Hey, how you guys doing? Welcome to another video piano lesson. In today's lesson, we're going to be talking about the over-under technique. And this is one of the most basic fundamental techniques and is especially important with stuff like scales, arpeggios, broken chords, that kind of thing. And then I'm going to show you the 5-finger drill, which is the exact exercise we use to drill in this technique. All right, let's get started. Okay, so before we talk about the actual technique, I want to talk a little bit about a mindset shift. And I know when I first started playing piano, I had this mindset that the piano keys were kind of like buttons, right? So you press an A and it makes a sound come out. And you press a B and a certain sound comes out. And I didn't think about how you play. And I realized how you play and how you strike the key actually matters. It's not just about pressing the right notes, but it's about how you press the right notes. And you can notice this pretty easily if you just take a note and just drill it in. You're going to get a really sharp, it's not going to sound good. And if you take the same note and play it in a different way, a kind of rounder way, you're going to get a more round, warm tone. And that's the kind of tone we want to shoot for most of the time when we play piano. All right, so before I show you guys the technique, I want to run a little experiment with you guys and see what you think about it. I want you to try playing the notes C up to G and then back to C. So it's just going to sound like this. And first I want you to try just with your wrist at the neutral position. Then I want you to try putting your wrist high and your elbow high. Now try putting your wrist low. And my point to this exercise is you'll notice it feels different to play, right? Like some of those felt easier, some of them felt harder, some of them just felt different. And I want you to focus on when you're playing, not just pressing the notes, am I hitting the right notes, but focus, is your hand in the right position to play the notes well, to play the notes with good tone, to play the notes fast. And that's kind of a concept that took me a long time to understand on piano, that it's not just about what notes you play, it's about how you play those notes. And the 5-finger drill is going to teach you the optimum positions of your wrist, your elbow, and your fingers in the optimum motion so that we can play the notes in the most natural position and they feel smooth and it doesn't feel hard, it should feel easy. And this is the exact method to getting all the notes to feel easy. All right, so for this section, I'm going to bring the camera in on a nice close-up on my fingers just so it's easier for you guys to see. All right, so here we are at the keyboard and I'm going to show you guys exactly how to do the over-under technique. Now there's 2 rules. It's very simple rules to follow. Basically, whenever you're playing notes from your thumb to your pinky, you roll down and out in a semicircular motion with your wrist. So basically, for right hand, if I'm doing this, I'm moving from my thumb to my pinky, right? And it doesn't have to be all 5 notes if I'm doing this, or if I'm doing, or maybe any of those patterns. You always want to be moving your wrist down and out like this. And same thing with your left hand. So if I'm on my left hand, thumb to pinky, that means I'm playing downward, right? And I would be moving my wrist down and out like that. And I know you guys have seen people that are really good at piano, and they have that wrist roll, and that creates good tone. It helps you stay relaxed, and it helps you speed up things. And the second part of it, that's rule number 1. Rule number 2 is simply the opposite. If you're playing from pinky to thumb, you're going to have an up and in motion with your wrist, right? Same thing with left hand. So now you can kind of see if you're playing both, right? If I'm playing, your wrist will go in a complete circle. Well, more of an oval, really, because it's kind of a semi-oval down, and it's a semi-oval up, so it'll look like, or left hand. And here is why this works. And when somebody told me this, it was so obvious, but it seems so mind-blowing to me because I never really thought about it that way before. But let's look at your fingers, right? Your middle finger is the longest. Now these 2 fingers are the next long, and your pinky and your thumb are extremely short in comparison, right? So if you keep your wrist at the same spot, you might be able to curve your 3rd finger, and these 3 fingers can stay curved, but your pinky to reach the note it's almost flat, right? You can, I mean, you might be able to curve it a little bit, but it's not going to have that same curve. So how do we curve our pinky? If we move our wrist like that, now our pinky's nice and curved, right? Whereas straight, now it's pretty flat. So to get that pinky to curve like that, all we got to do is roll down and out. And now our pinky's in a lot better position to play the note. So, and now the other point is, you know, why do we do down and out? Why don't we just do out and play our pinky? And the reason for that is you want to keep your wrist in motion. Like, let's say I'm playing this, right? If I just go sideways, I'm going to do, now I have to stop my motion and turn around. And that's going to be hard to do, as opposed to if I'm keeping it in motion, I don't have to stop it at all. I just kind of turn it, right? So it's going to be a lot faster when we play. And that's how you get the fast turnarounds, especially like at the top of scales, right? Is you do that out and then you turn it up and bring it back in, right? So that's a great technique. And the way to drill in that technique is what I call the 5-finger drill. It's a very simple drill. All it is you play whatever note the key's in. So if you're in key, or the key of C, you start on a C. And you just play through it twice and make sure you do the proper wrist motion. Then you move up to the next note, right? So you move up to this note. Then you move up to this note. And you keep going until you get up to this C up here. Then you do the exact same thing with your left hand. And one thing to notice about this is the key of C will probably be pretty easy in comparison because it's all white notes. Once you get to keys with a lot of black, like if you're on, let's say A major and there's 3 black notes and you're on this, you know, the 3rd scale degree, now you're playing. And that's a lot tougher because you're playing all these black notes. But once you play that, then you go back to C major and it's like super easy. You know, it's like if you're lifting 50 pounds, you go back to 20 pounds and it's that much easier. So make sure you play this through all the different keys, and I promise this will help you a ton in scales and playing fast. Also, you know, if you're playing a broken chord, something, that's how you can get it fast, is you have to use the wrist motion. If you try to without any wrist motion, it's going to lead to tension and it's not going to be fast. So just kind of keep that in mind when you're playing. Always keep this little wrist motion, no matter what you're playing, whether it's scales or your piece or whatever. All right, that's all I have for this lesson. Remember, put this into your practicing right away. Don't just watch the video. Don't just, you know, take in the knowledge, but put that knowledge into use. You will see results, I hope, very fast. So thanks a lot for watching this lesson. I'll see you in the next one. Happy practicing and peace out.